Hey guys, happy Friday. Gabe again with Nerd Tech, and I'm in my Synthflow AI demo account, and I'm going to give you some tips and tricks on how to use the prompt and maybe make it a little bit better, maybe help you understand it. Really all the problems related to a voice agent comes down to either better prompting or just adding more details in your prompt. So let's dive in, and hopefully this can be a little bit of some help to you. I'm going to just start by creating an agent from scratch. We're going to do an outbound agent. And on this first screen here, we've already kind of gone through setting up an agent, but the reason I'm creating one from scratch is because I really want to show you the prompt they give you. Uh, Starts out here with just a basic outline of a prompt. It's helpful to kind of see what Synthflow sets up as a basic structure of what they think a good prompt is. So I'm going to go through this and kind of show you the different parts that are important and how you can kind of alter it for your business and how you can make a good one. Now, you can always go to Ask Copilot and it'll help you make a prompt, but it's not perfect. It gives you a good foundation, much similar to this structure here. But you're going to have much more success if you kind of understand the logic behind the structure of the prompt and how the AI reads it. So, first thing I want to bring to your attention is you're going to see things like these uh, pound symbols, number signs, hashtags, whatever you want to call them. And the AI is very good at understanding that these mean it's a heading. So it's a section or a heading or some sort of part that's given it information. So it would probably even be a good idea to add it to any areas that are headings like that. You can add two or three. I haven't really found that that makes much of a difference, but it kind of helps it understand different sections that are important. Now, another thing the AI likes to see is it likes to see numbers. And so if you're having a hard time getting the AI to follow a certain structure or it's bouncing around too much, then you can definitely add numbers. And for instance, if under script instructions here, you wanted it to gather some information, you might have sub sections underneath that that are lettered. So you could have numbers here, but then you could have like ABC underneath there, and it's going to understand the logic of following that. Think of it much like you were creating standard operating procedures for your business, and you really want to make it super clear for employees to know, this is the most important things about the business. And then when you get into this process, you're going to start with step one, step two, step three. So think of that logic. And what we're telling it in the beginning is background information. So we're telling it really important information about the business. We want this AI to know about your business. It's not necessarily going to say these things, but it's going to have logic to be able to come up with authentic, genuine answers based on just some really good information and background information about the business. It's a good idea to give it a little introduction to tell it who it is, what its role is. Sometimes I see introduction. You can call this agent role. You can say you are the AI assistant, or your job is to do this or that. So you're giving it some instructions on exactly who it even is so it can kind of take on that persona. It's good to give it, this is called product information. I would relabel this as maybe um, business information. Maybe you want to put like company info there. So the address, the email address, contact information if somebody asks on the phone. The target audience is good. It gives the AI a general idea of who it's speaking to. And value proposition is like, what makes your company different from the other companies out there. So this is really valuable for if people come back and say, well, why should I go with you? There's some unique stuff here about your company that the AI can kind of help with the rebuttals. Objection handling is fantastic. You're giving it examples. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you're giving it examples here. And there's only one. I would put like maybe 5 examples of objections. So it could be things that are common. If you're outbound calling or if you have inbound calls, maybe clients are asking questions or saying things like, well, what makes you different? Or I'm skeptical about this new thing that you're offering me. So anything that might be a common objection you can put here, and it's going to be able to process that throughout the call. Utilize it as it needs to, and it actually works really, really well. So let's see here. Some of this stuff is unnecessary because it's unrelated to a lot of things. Skeptical prospects, again, that's kind of like objection handling. Let's see here. So some of this is just you can delete a lot of this stuff. You're also going to see uh, if you go through Copilot, it's going to look a little bit different, but you're still going to have the basic blocks of business information, background info, what's your role, who's your target audience, what's the value proposition. It's good to add a section on the tone on how you want. So I would actually call this. Uh, I would call this. Let's see here, agent role. And then I have something I like to put in here that I think I have it copied on my clipboard. So I like to give it a tone. This helps it be a little bit more human like in its speaking. So that's good to give it a tone. That's a little tip there. And then down here on the script instructions, these are really important. So this is going to be the flow of your script, and this is actually very important to number because you want it to flow through properly. After you give it script instructions, which I would also add that there so it knows that's a good section. I would add after this, which just makes it a little bit more accurate, uh, I would give it a script example, and then I would paste in an example of what a script sounds like. And you can generate that if from ChatGPT. If you don't really know where to start, that's a great way to give you some advice. If you already have a script, you can paste it in here, but it's going to be make it much more accurate to have instructions on what it's supposed to do and then give it an example. And you can even give it a couple of examples. Maybe one example is a perfect script on how a client would go perfectly through and they're interested. Maybe you give it another example on a client that's not interested and how to handle that conversation to end it nicely. So it's a great idea to give it a couple script examples, and that's going to make it much more accurate. Now, a couple advanced tricks is in the script instructions, you can start playing around. If you're making a more advanced script and you want to tell it different, like if else types of variables, maybe you want it to do certain things. Instructions are great to put in square brackets like that. And you can say, like, if they say they are not interested, then say something like this. No worries. I'll make sure we take you off the list. And so here's what I want to tell you about this. Number one, square brackets are instructions. Number two, I kind of like putting instructions in all caps. I'm not 100% sure if it works better, but it's something where I can recognize it as I'm scanning through the prompt to be able to understand my instructions just for myself. And then what I tell it is in lower caps. I really like to say something like this. If you want it to actually say exactly that, then you can say exactly this and put it in quotes, and then it'll pretty much say that every time. I like mine to be a little bit more dynamic so that depending on if the lead says something a little bit different, they can kind of see that, okay, I got to say something like this, but I'm not going to say exactly that. Maybe it didn't make sense in that particular situation. So those are these are some things you can do to really fine tune the script to make it a little bit better. Now, the last thing I'm going to tell you that really helps people out is you can take this structure here and you can take out all of the information. Like you can take out the example information it gives you here, and we're going to call this company info, and we're going to take that out. We're going to leave tone. We're going to take out agent role. We're going to take out insert objection examples in this section. So let's see, we're going to make this simple though. I'm going to take out all this. Example script here. All right, so what you could do is you could kind of create yourself a little outline like this. Take out that beginning. You could take this, copy it, we'll go into Chat GPT here, and let's just go. We're going to use my website here, www.nerdtech.ai, and we're going to say you will use this website for all information that I give you shortly. All right. So I'm giving it some context that it's going to use that website. And it's saying, how can I assist you today? So I'm going to tell it, uh, I'm building a prompt for my voice AI agent, and I need you to use this format along with my website to create the prompt for me. Now we got to give it some more information because it can't get everything from my website. It doesn't know exactly what the purpose of this call is. So I'm going to say uh, the purpose of the call is to make outbound calls to leads that are interested in voice AI. We need to verify they are actually interested by asking some qualifying questions and then uh, checking to see if they want to book an appointment. Then we will conclude the call in a concise and friendly way. All right, so I'm going to give it that, and then I'm going to say, here is the outline to follow to make the prompt. And then I'm going to paste in there. Now, this is absolutely amazing. If you're not using ChatGPT, you should. So, oh, and it's asking me which response is better. Interesting. It doesn't always do this, so. All right, cool. Let's see here. It's giving me some background information, role, tone, company info, target audience, value proposition. Must have left that one in there. I don't know where it came up with that. It made that up. Objection handling. So it's actually coming up with some objections and responses. We don't actually need to put. Well, it's okay to add responses. That's fine. Script instructions. So it's coming up with a really good, and it even gives a script example. So this is fantastic. It's coming up with a really great base. And man, this really helps cut the learning curve. It helps cut the brainstorming. You can spend hours trying to figure out how you want this for your business. And this is just really going to help you get there faster. So we could copy this and paste it in there, do a test call, and then it's going to give us a good foundation to alter. As you hear the calls and you listen to them, you're going to be able to understand maybe you need to tweak something here or there. Maybe you need to add some more objection handling. Maybe there's questions asked on live calls that you didn't put in here. Now, some people are like, Gabe, why don't you use the knowledge base for some of this stuff? You can. You can put in a knowledge base. It has it right here. But what I found is almost most of the time you don't need to because you can add it all to the prompt, and it does a really good job with it just being there. So it's just one less thing you have to do. So you don't really need to add a knowledge base unless it's super extensive and you're building out a complex script, which I would not necessarily recommend at this point, it's better to keep the scripts simple and as a tool just to screen your leads and to get them booked with a real human. So that's my unofficial advice. You can use Copilot. The reason why I showed you this alternative method is because sometimes Copilot's a little slow. I've seen it crash. I've seen people get frustrated. If it's working, it does work amazing. But I just wanted to show you another way where you can take the foundation of a script, understand the different blocks and what they mean and how it helps the AI, put that in ChatGPT to formulate your own script. This is actually a very fast and efficient way of doing it if Copilot is not working for you. So, uh, hope this guys gave you some tips on how to make your prompts better. If you need any help with this, I do offer help. You can book a call with me down in my link down below. So have a great weekend.